And finally, we may or may not have arrived. Hangman Adam Page is going after the AEW World Championship against Kenny Omega, and this story has basically been going on for around about 3 years. So if he loses, well, I may cry. My name is Simon Miller from What Culture Wrestling. Thank you for joining me as always, and that's the whole point of this video. We are going to take our emotions, we are going to take our feelings, we are going to throw it out there into the wrestling universe and try and figure out who is going to win and who is going to lose at AEW Full Gear 2021. Make sure you get in the comments and do the same. Also, make sure you subscribe. Everybody get your brains ready and let's fantasy book. So we will start with what I think will be the opener at Full Gear, which is Christian Cage and the Jurassic Express taking on the Young Bucks and Adam Cole. And honestly, if this is not the funnest match on the whole entire card, I will shave my head. Because that is just what these guys do. Matt and Nick Jackson could very well be the best tag team ever. Don't come at me getting all mad. It's just what I think. Adam Cole is one of the most over guys in the company. The Jurassic Express are just beloved by everyone. And Christian Cage, to this day, remains underrated. Here's some homework for the day. Go and find a bad Christian match. I'll stand here waiting. Oh, you've come back? That's right, you weren't able to find it. It is kind of fascinating in what direction AEW will decide to go, because of course, recently Christian took a chair and he ruined Adam Cole's brains. When it kind of comes to revenge, you would imagine that the super clique would win, but deep down in my tum-tum, I just think the good guys are going to get the W. And the reason for that is because the Bucks and Cole are just mega assholes. And when it does come to these big pay-per-views, and when it does come to these big shows, All Elite Wrestling 9 times out of 10 wants to make you feel good. So because we're all behind Jungle Boy, and we're all behind Luchasaurus, and we're behind Christian, we want to see them have a victory. So that's what I think is going to happen here. But I don't even care what they do when it comes to the result, because as I've already said, and as I will say again right now, this is going to be so damn entertaining. It'll be funny, there'll be flippy stuff, it'll make you go, ha ha ha, how on earth do they do it? I'm very excited about this. And if it does open Full Gear, it's just going to set me up for the next few hours. Christian Cage and the Jurassic Express win. And then we go from the enjoyable ridiculous right into the most serious shit ever. I mean, it is Eddie Kingston versus CM Punk. And the crazy thing about this is that one, I doubt Eddie Kingston was on anybody's list when it came to, oh my gosh, CM Punk is going to fight this guy. And it wasn't even on Tony Khan's. Do you remember that leaked picture that we saw of Tony Khan with the Full Gear card? At one point, it was CM Punk versus Wardlow. So something definitely changed, and I tell you this, thank goodness it did. That's nothing against Wardlow, but if you saw the promo between Punk and Kingston on Rampage a couple of weeks ago, it was so damn good and got me completely fired up. And it's also utterly baffled me, it's utterly confused me. Because if you had told me on paper what we were going to do, I'd have been like, well, of course CM Punk is going to win that match, and I would have done that little wiggle as well. But now, I can foresee a world where Eddie Kingston wins. And this is just because he's such a damn good babyface and he's so damn lovable. If you haven't read the article he put up on the internet talking about his life in wrestling, my word, you need to go and read it right now. But of course, over the other side of the ring, it's CM Punk, the man that left wrestling for 7 years, the man we were all desperate to return. This one is going to be absolute fire. It's also the first time we've seen Punk move away from his whole man, I'm just happy to be here persona, which I also love by the way, but this is the time. That's why I think CM Punk's going to win. I think he shall use this victory and then kind of bring a whole new edge to his persona. And I don't mean Adam Copeland. I don't mean Edge is about to debut in AEW. Nobody run that headline. And also, if Eddie Kingston does lose after being called a bum, do you know what that does? It's going to give him even more sympathy, or maybe it's the perfect catalyst to turn him into a bad guy. That's right, I said it. I think CM Punk is going to win, and I think it's going to devastate Eddie so much, he turns to the dark side and joins Darth Vader. This will also be a tremendous, tremendous bout. I cannot wait. But I'm going with Punk. Probably slotting somewhere in the middle of all of this too, we are going to have Cody Rhodes teaming up with Pac to take on Andrade and Malachi Black. And after they use their teleportation devices or powers on Dynamite, I imagine this should be pretty good. Those two things didn't tie in at all, but I'm a madman and nobody can stop me. I'm massively intrigued to see what AEW is going to do here, because think of all the little things that have joined us on this journey. I mean, Malachi Black is 2-1 over Cody Rhodes, and this whole Pac and Andrade thing has been going on for ages, ever since Andrade was like, hey man, I don't think you really like the Lucha Brothers, so they should come with me. You don't even pick them up from the airport. Or something like that. It was a little bit confusing. And given that I think there is going to be a lot of joy on this pay-per-view, I think Malachi Black and Andrade should win. Like, Pac has been on a tear recently, so he can get away with a loss. Cody losing always makes his character more interesting. And if Malachi and Andrade can come out the week after and go, ha ha, we did it, we're like evil people and all that, I just think it enhances to wherever the hell we're going to go next. You also have to imagine that FTR may get involved, even though they've got a match of their own. But again, Cash Wheeler and Dax Harwood have been doing things constantly, and maybe the Lucha Brothers do too. So this one is a little bit of an eyebrow raiser. But look, Malachi Black is one of the most popular people in the company, whether he's meant to be or not, and I think we lean into that. So yeah, have him win, and why not have him pin Cody again and watch the internet meltdown. That wasn't a melting down noise. Look, I'm not very good at sound effects. These pay-per-views are always so well structured too. You know what we've already talked about, and then we move in to MJF versus Darby Allin, or two homegrown stars. Now this may go a little bit long, so you'll have to forgive me, and I'm going to spoil the end of the video because I also need to tell you that yes, I think Hangman Adam Page will be the champion before the night is through, which is also why I think MJF is going to win here, because he should beat Darby Allin, and then he should beat a bunch of other people, a bunch of other notable names, and then in 6 months' time or in a year's time, he should take on Hangman Adam Page, and I know everybody calm down, he should win and become the brand new AEW World Champion. And that all starts here. That all starts now. He can beat Darby Allin by whatever means he wants, by the way. He can use distraction, he can use a surprise roll-up, he can cheat, he can just be a mega asshole, but then he conveniently forgets all that, and for the next however long goes, I beat Darby Allin, I am the best. And then he does it with somebody else, and then he does it with somebody else, and he continues singing that song before he also screws over Adam Page, and by that point, we're going to be like volcanoes. We are going to be desperate for somebody to punch him right in his skull and for him to lose. It's what wrestling is all about. So at the risk of annoying everybody watching this video, I am talking about sports entertainment. I don't care if it's a DQ, I don't care if it's a count out, Maxwell Jacob Friedman just has to win. Also, when it comes to Darby Allin, he's almost morphed into an Undertaker or Bray Wyatt-like character. He just has this aura about him where, doesn't matter if he wins, doesn't matter if he loses, it doesn't even matter if he's a champion. He is going to be over for as long as he wants to be over, which is another reason why you can do this. But when we are talking about the pillars of AEW, you bet your ass that both of these guys are in it. I have picked MJF. We then get into some tag team action because the AEW World Tag Team titles are on the line as the Lucha Brothers defend them against FTR. And we do have quite the story here, because of course it involves everything with the AAA Tag Team titles, and also the fact that Phoenix and Pentagon are just sick of Cash and Dax being a couple of goofs. And if you do go through all the recent AEW shows, those two guys really have been a couple of goofs. It's also where I think the Forbidden Door is going to come into play, because once again, FTR are the AAA Tag Team Champions. And up to this point, and I have no problem with this, AEW hasn't really let any of its own roster lose on foreign territory. So the Lucha Brothers should win here so they can go, haha, we are still the AEW Tag Team Champions. But then on a future and quite soon AAA show, Penta and Phoenix should go down there and also win back the AAA Tag Team titles. Although I've just changed my mind, because actually what you could do is the FTR could win it here, and then maybe the Lucha Brothers win all the gold back on that AAA show. Either way is fine, but that's what I think this is setting up, just spreading the love around a little bit. Also, you don't care, I don't care, your nan doesn't care. When Phoenix is in a match, all we do care about is figuring out what the flub he is going to do. Because so far, every time I have seen him perform, he has done at least one move where I facepalm like, well, that doesn't make any sense. He just broke physics and he just broke the space-time continuum. So you're damn right I think this is going to be good, because on the one side you have some of the best flippy guys in the business, and on the other you have some of the best tag team wrestlers and ground workers in the business. I've confused myself with the prediction, but I am going to go with the Lucha Brothers retaining their titles, and then sure, they'll go down to Mexico and reclaim the others. We switch gears ironically next because then we have a little bit of ridiculousness, as is the Inner Circle taking on American Top Team and Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky. Now I know the build to this hasn't been everybody's cup of tea, but I've enjoyed it loads because again, Junior Dos Santos and Andre Arlovski having a wrestle. The last time Junior Dos Santos was in a match, he only practiced for 2 hours on the day of that Dynamite. So what the hell is he gonna do here? The Inner Circle have also pretty much put in a good performance every single time they have had a match. And I'm sure it's going to be Dan Lambert that takes the fall here because he can lose and nobody is going to care. But what we must ensure is that on the other side of this and coming out on the other side of this, Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky have a plan. Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky become the tag team champions at one point, and Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky are just given all the opportunities because they're so damn good and it's their time to shine. So I feel more confident about this one than most of the others I have talked about, and Chris Jericho will pin Dan Lambert or he'll make him submit to the rules of Jericho, and that's fine, man. Dan Lambert has been a brilliant fall throughout all of this. Finally, he gets his comeuppance. And just when you thought you'd had enough, number 1 contender match for the AEW World title. Bryan Danielson, potentially the best wrestler ever, taking on Miro, who is also one of the best wrestlers ever. I mean, what the hell are we going to do here? Especially because if you use your brain, this was probably meant to be Danielson versus Mox, which Mox could have won, and then he could have gone on to fight Hangman Adam Page. But when I think about it and when I activate my brain, which I only do a few times a year, why wouldn't you have Bryan Danielson win here? Why wouldn't you have him go on to fight the Hangman? And why wouldn't you have the Cowboy win? Because then not only has he defeated Kenny Omega for the gold, but then he can then go, oh hey, guess who I beat in my first title defense? That's right, Bryan Danielson. And you are right to question me on this, because you can go, well, wait a minute, Simon, what does that mean for Miro? It would mean he had 2 losses on the trot, and that is very true. But he's such a crazed cat these days, and he's so good at cutting promos, I really think he could get his momentum back in around about 5 minutes. I cannot wait to see this though, because it's just the best of all of wrestling in one ring, and Bryan Danielson will once again have to fight a completely different match to what he's been fighting about so far. But I can't lose is the true joy of this. If Bryan Danielson wins, I'll be like, oh, okay, yeah, brilliant. But if Miro wins, I'll do a backflip and probably die. But I am gonna pick Bryan Danielson because it's just not the time to have him lose. But honestly, if this is anything other but a 5-star match, I will go and eat my hat. Which is fine because I don't own a hat, don't need to, got a bald head. The Women's AEW World Championship is on the line, and I've just realized I lied to you because I said I was more confident about the Inner Circle match, but no, I'm more confident here. Britt Baker's gonna win. That's nothing against Ty Conte, who does get better each and every week, but it's just not the time to take the championship off the dentist. I mean, sometimes you can feel it in the air. Like when Jon Moxley beat Chris Jericho for the AEW World title, something inside your tum-tum went, well, they have to do it now because I'm desperate for it. That doesn't exist right now. Probably because, yes, once again, it's not the time. And I'm sure Conte will put in a good performance because she has come into her own. And sure, if you want to screw her over with Rebel or Jamie Hayter, you could, and after the fact, they could do a big beatdown when Thunder Rosa makes the save. And then you've also set up your next program, look at me doing conductor hands. And then, yeah, if you want Thunder Rosa to win the championship, well, I don't think you'll have many complaints. But on this night, it's all about those teeth, because it's all about a dentist. Which does bring us to our main event. And I've ruined it, haven't I? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. AEW World title, Hangman Adam Page, the number 1 contender, taking on Kenny Omega. And yes, I think the Cowboy's going to win. Now, I do think there is a way that you could probably have Kenny Omega win, but the real issue with that is that all good stories have tragedy in them, right? Makes you cry, oh, I'm so sad. But this has happened to Adam Page so many times. And this is like his 82nd attempt to become champion, that I think on this occasion, if you do take it away from him, just a few people are going to shrug their shoulders and go, well, maybe he does suck. He can never win the big one. Because Full Gear 2021 is the time for Hangman Adam Page to win the big one. Not only does he knock off his greatest rival so far, Kenny Omega, but just imagine the closing shot of that show. Maybe he's on a horse, maybe there's a bunch of pyrotechnics, you're going to see everybody in the crowd go, yes, Hangman Adam Page, we love you because he's the ultimate babyface. Isn't that better than Kenny going, I did it again? I mean, that would make me laugh because he's so good at it, but that's not what wrestling is about. Wrestling is about the good guy overcoming the odds. Right there. And I'm sure AEW will tease you as well. I bet the Elite get involved and probably Don Callis will come back. but eventually it will be nice and easy. Buckshot lariat, 1, 2, 3. And then somebody is definitely going to be cutting onions. Now, please do go in the comments below and let us know your prediction. Who is going to win, who is going to lose, and how wrong have I been? Like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Head over to whatculture.com where we will keep you up to date with all the latest wrestling news. Make sure you come say hello and give us a follow on social media. And we got a ton of videos, ton of them. Watch them all. My name is Simon for What Culture. Thank you for joining me as always. Enjoy Full Gear 2021. It certainly does feel very special. And we shall talk about this the day after on Ups and Downs, because that's just what we do on life.